Hi, it's Professor Nelson with the Jewelry Design Department at FIT. I'm going to do another tutorial here on organic modeling, bringing this series, at least for the most part, to a close. I'm going to put points on these pieces. Actually, two of them. This piece I will not add a point to at this point, but the other two I will. Start with the flat bottom. That's the most direct. Our points should already be in place for this version. They're at the bottom here. The drawing for it, I should say. We want to make sure that it actually matches, because if you'll think back, this is not the drawing, this is the surface. The surface was made from the drawing by doing a bi-rail sweep and then rebuilding that surface to give us a consistent directionality and density of points. In that process, we've changed these edges a little bit, so this may no longer match. We want to make sure that it does. Now, it looks like nothing happened, so let's actually examine this more closely. Here are the points for this turned on. This curve is, by the way, drawn with an adjustable blend curve. By now you should be able to guess that. That's how I do all my points. So, okay, there's the curvature graph. Watch what happens to the curvature graph when I match the curve. Nothing. And that tells me, now I have to make sure I pick the surface edge, not the curve. Okay, and it is tangency, so a slight movement there. Nope, not at all. So the surface actually kept its integrity. So I will just check to make sure. It's just good hygiene. I use that statement all the time to double check. It just takes a second to rematch that in case anything did change. Okay. First step now is going to be to extrude this to match the sidewall. I need to have a ISO curve down the center here. Just use mid snap. And I need to have a curve off of here. Now, mind you, this is an extrusion. Before I can really play with that surface, I have to explode the extrusion. It's still just one surface. It changes what Rhino considers it to be. I'm going to change the color of this so that we have good visibility, and extract an ISO curve off of this as well. Toggle direction, and mid is good, quad is good. I'll see what looks best from above. That looks good. Adjustable blend curve. Rhino picked the wrong thing for me. There. Take a look at that cross section. See if it's what I want, except when it is. Join these two together. I want to split. I'm going to need to split this edge. This will be a three-sided surface from curve network, which always requires me to split the edge. I gotta have rail, rail, rail. So split edge. It's important to make sure I did that at the right place, right where that curve ends. Okay. And now I do my surface from curve network. Edge rail, curve rail, edge section, and go. there's my point. Now you remember that this one I left the groove in, so that groove is going to come out and fade automatically on its own. Very nice. Same thing on this end. Extrude. Catch the end. I'll go ahead and join these two together. And extract an isocurve. Midpoint. Adjustable curve blend. To get my cross section. Once again, Rhino really doesn't want to grab this little piece. Get what I want there. Split edge. And then we're going to do a surface from curve network. Edge rail, curve rail, edge rail, edge section. Rhino couldn't sort the curves. When it does that, I just do it again. Edge rail, curve rail, edge rail. Make sure I pick it the same end of the rails. Edge section. Rhino can't do it. So when that happens, it says choose different directions. So I'll choose the section first. Rail, rail, edge rail. Can't do it. So it says select curves in the first direction. Rhino's just confused. Edge rail, rail, edge rail. Second direction. And Rhino can understand it now. There we go. Now what I want to look for, class, is down here. Often as you come close to the bottom, you will get a ripple on these cones. Not much of one here, more of one there. This is the kind of thing you could polish out very easily in the finished piece, but we don't have to accept it. I'm going to come in and extract an isocurve, and I'm going to take it back to where the surface isn't buckled, or at least where it's buckled very mildly. I'm going to use that curve to trim off that nose cone. I'm going to join these pieces together. I am going to split this curve. I shouldn't have thrown that curve away. I'm going to need it. I'm going to split this curve with that isocurve. And I'm going to make a patch. When you make a patch, you don't just use the edge surface. You can just use edges. But you can also use some curve information in the middle, and Rhino will read that in making the patch. And you'll see that's a smoother solution. So when you look at my models, in the future, finished models, you'll often see that the points have this little extra bit of surfacing there. It's not necessary. I could have left it the way it was, but it does give you a little smoother result. Okay. I'm going to select all the curves and delete them. Actually, I don't want to delete the I'm going to turn off the white layer. That's what I'll do, and just delete the new red curves. Okay. The bottom. I really don't need this fancy surface on the bottom because I'm not going to sculpt with it. So I'm going to extract it at this point and cap. And I have a closed poly surface. Okay, so there's that one. Now I'll do the same thing with the surface that is rounded on the bottom. take my end curve here, my point, and I'm going to put it at the bottom edge of that extruded surface. Oh, this is the wrong surface. Okay. I was going to say, this bottom is all curvy. I don't want that one. Sorry to say. I want this one. Yeah. Same idea. Going to move this to the bottom of the very narrow edge wall we have there. And even though I know it's fine, I'm going to go through the trouble of matching that curve. It's just a habit. A little OCD in action here. Not that one, see? It moved it to the wrong place. It's such a narrow surface that it's easy to grab the wrong one. Okay. It's the same steps. Going to extrude. To the end of that surface. And I didn't do a project to C-plane like I did on the other one, so these distances are slightly different. So I have to do both ends carefully, make sure that I capture that properly. Alright. I just basically need to create 2 points. So I will extract an isocurve off the bottom at the midpoint and at the top. Midpoint. And this will have to be exploded from an extrusion so I can extract the isocurve, toggle the direction. Blend curve. Gotta zoom in, make sure I catch the very end of this. And same from below. If I'm having a hard time getting the camera in Rhino to let me see what I want, I'll select something in the area that I want to work and hit select, zoom selected, and that'll recenter my camera. Blend. It's good to do these curves kind of together so that you can see how this comes off the point. Because how that comes off the point will influence the finish on your piece. Okay? Don't need that curve anymore. I don't need the little end curve there. Alright, I do need to split these edges. Both above and below. And now it will be a surface from curve network, just like we did before, just on both sides. Edge rail, curve rail, edge rail, edge section. That actually looks very nice. No buckling there, it's good. And edge rail, curve rail, edge rail, edge section. Looks good. the other end. Explode this extrusion. Extract an isocurve. And blend curve. Actually, I'm going to refocus my camera again. Set view, zoom select. There we go. Recenters the camera. Adjustable blend curve. I hope you're seeing that this is not terribly time consuming. And the same thing here. I want to be sensitive, try and have a nice continuity across here, and split my edge. And surface and curve network. Edge rail, curve rail, edge section. Nice. Edge rail, curve rail, edge section. Nice. Join these together. And then join. And this should be a solid. So once I click on this, oh, I did not get a solid. Yes, I did. One closed poly surface. Just took Rhino a bit of time to analyze it. Okay, so let's bring back and here we have, give them a little more distance so we can see them clearly and emap them. Okay, rounded bottom. And flat bottom. You see a trace of a seam line here. I can get rid of that. I'm not going to bother with it right now. I may. I'm deciding right now whether I'll bother with it or not. It does happen sometimes. Okay, this one's slider. Once again, polish out in a minute. But I am going to address this one just so you can see how it's done. Okay, got to make sure I get the right end. It's the thin end. Right here. Cutting plane. Just going to use end snap. Going to offset my surface, both sides, 0.5. Delete the original surface. Trim out the middle. Surface. I'm going to do the bottom separately because there's a hard corner there. Hit enter. Enter. Preview. Try same height. See if that changes things. Usually it gives you a slightly more rigid result. It's not necessary here. Gonna hit OK. I know it's probably going to not be exact here. I'm a little concerned about that, but not a lot. positive right now. Join these three together, and cap planar holes. Good. That should have seam line is gone. Okay, so that's how you would solve that. So anyway, not the most adorable form in the world, but it serves to demonstrate the purposes of the video. So thanks so much for watching.